Record, there we go.
He's dangerous for nothing.
I believe you were giving it, I believe you know him.
That I like. I'm reading one from my class.
You got it going?
Yes.
Oh, good.
My secretary went out 2 weeks from COVID.
She traded spots. She come to see if I was invited. She already.
Good morning, sir.
She stayed with Carson.
Good morning, Van.
Oh,
Good
my
morning.
Lord,
Good
have
evening.
mercy.
I've already seen your evening photo.
How y'all doing?
I'm mean as ever, so I'm doing good. Van, do you remember this gentleman right here?
Oh, yeah.
I do too.
Yes, sir.
We painted a fence together here the other day.
Oh, y'all did? See if that one right there. No. What you doing?
Bane, how you doing?
Doing good, buddy. Good to see you. Glad to have you here.
Pretty big piece in the pocket.
I can't do that right now. Why?
According to my phone, we're 2 minutes away. We're you got your machine.
Our Ronald is here.
2 minutes.
This man over here is giving me grief.
I don't doubt it.
Okay, Mayor.
Who are y'all calling in?
John Bloodworth,
He ain't coming?
she called him in.
Well, he needs to get a grill. Oh, that's wrong number. All right, you got the dial now.
I didn't dial this, but maybe I have to now. See what we can, all right, I didn't dial it a minute ago, and now I did, so wait a minute, I believe you wrote that number down wrong. I believe that's 259, isn't it? No, it's 282, you're right. 282. Wait a minute. Dan, I'm in a council meeting, son, you'll have to call me back.
Hello.
John,
Yes.
we got you on, buddy, you're on, and the speaker's on.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, and the time has arrived, the hour has arrived. I call this meeting to order. And, ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest that's gonna serve a dual purpose here, but I've known this gentleman for a long time, and I know he's got I think, a pretty good connection. I remember years ago when we were struggling as farmers, he and I both were in the farming business in one way or the other. And I got to know him and his communication with the man upstairs. Back in those days, we were praying for everything we could get to try to help us get out of all sorts of trouble with the farming industry. And I've known Jack for a long time, and I'm sure you have too. So we're going to ask Jack if you would tonight, if you would, sir, give the invocation for us.
I'm not gonna ask you to stand, sometimes I pray pretty long, and I wouldn't want you to have to stand up too long, okay?
All right.
Let's pray. Lord, we just come before you tonight, and when we pause to thank you for all of your blessings, for all the things that you do for us, Lord, especially for sending your son to die for us, that we might have eternal life. Lord, I just come tonight, Lord, and our country is in a mess, Lord. And I know, Lord, that you're not Republican or you're not Democrat, Lord. You're God Almighty, and you're in charge of everything. But Lord, you're aware that we are so opposed to each other in Washington, Lord. It's such a shame, Lord, that we have gotten ourselves into the situation we have, Lord. And I pray that both Democrats and Republicans, Lord, will not vote just because of their party, Lord, that they'll do what's right. Lord, I know, Lord, that's not the normal thing, but Lord, we need people to stand up and do the right thing. Lord, we have worked for years on race relationships, and Lord, since this election, Lord, we have more trouble today between blacks and whites than we've had in years, Lord. It's all been brought home because of people who, Lord, are trying their best to bring division. Lord, we need unity. We need unity in Washington. We need unity in Atlanta. And Lord, we need unity in this room. Lord, I just ask you, Lord, that you would move on every commission, on every alderman's heart, Lord, and let them, Lord, do what is right. And Lord, let them make sure that they are not voting for something because they know somebody that they don't particularly like are voting for it or against it. Lord, we read in the paper almost weekly where there's the division. And I just pray, Lord, that beginning tonight, that every person, Lord, would say, Lord, help me to do the right thing. Well, I thank you for these gentlemen and our lady Alderman, Lord, who've been willing to run and take a job that's not very popular, Lord, but yet someone has to do this job. Well, I pray especially for Mayor Stone. Lord, Brandon and I have had a lot of run-ins, but I can truthfully say that I've always considered him a friend, and he's always helped me when I need something. That if he could help me, Lord, he has never done anything that's wrong by helping me. It's just that when he could help me, he helped me, Lord. And I just pray, Lord, that all the aldermen will rally around Bain and his leadership. And Lord, I know that sometimes he can be a little testy, but Lord, I pray that, Lord, we can have unity in this body. Lord, just again, I thank you, Lord, for this meeting. I thank you, Lord, that it's open meeting that people can come, and I thank you, Lord, that they give me an opportunity tonight to come and speak on something that's dear to my heart and something, Lord, that I'd like to see what we could do to make it successful. Lord, I just bless you and praise you. And thank you again, Lord, for all you do for us. Thank you for every person that's against you tonight. I pray, Lord, that they come with the right attitude, and Lord, that they would come to support this group, Lord. We bless you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Let's remain standing, Jack. We're going to pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the agenda is before you. Any modifications to the agenda? Okay, as you can tell, Councilman Johnson on the end is not down there, but he should be getting fairly close now. But at any rate, he's asked if we would for him, you looked at his agenda, he said if we would, the modification he requests is to move item 4 to item 11 and move everything up. I entertain a motion that we approve Mr. Johnson's request and move item 4 up.
So moved.
Mr. Ramey has moved that we accommodate Mr. Johnson, and Ms. Leggett has seconded the motion. Any further discussion about the change of agenda? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, we've done that accordingly. So item 4 will become item 11, and the others below that will just be moved up one. So y'all keep it straight. Sometimes I miss. Is there any other modifications to the agenda? And for the benefit of those that's in the audience that may not know, not only is Councilman Johnson not down there, but he called me and said he'd be just a few minutes late. So he'll be walking in at some time. And also that we have Councilman John Bloodworth on the phone, and you can hear him. He's well aware of what's going on, and he's done this before. He knows how to communicate over the phone, so he is present on the phone here.
Mr. Floyd needs to come after the agenda.
What happened?
Mr. Floyd.
We're going, and that's another change that we're doing too. And Ms. Bernice has already done this, and she rules the roost, so we can't do anything about it. It's done. Ms. Bernice has put Mr. Jack has requested to come, and when he did, I attached the invitation to him later. His first item that he came to talk about, that's what he's here to do. So, Jack, if you would, if you'd be more comfortable to stand and lean on that stand there.
Well, I have some notes that I have to
Okay,
refer to.
just leave it right on that. That'll give you something to prop on, and that'll be a good place for you to operate.
I can speak to the audience as well as speak to the.
Yeah.
Forgive me for first referring to you as Alderman. It's council.
We're called a lot worse than that.
Mr. Mayor, Madam Diane and Madam Bernice, Your Honor, Mr. Smith, I'm delighted that you have given me this opportunity to come and speak to you. What I've come to talk to you is not, most people would say you've lost your mind, but I've come to talk to you.
Hold on just a minute. John, can you hear okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. All right, go ahead.
I come to talk to you tonight about the golf course. The last week of December, I took my 12-year-old great-granddaughter and my 8-year-old great-grandson to play golf at the Twisted Pine Golf Course. And rumor was that day that the course was closing on January the 1st. Well, I talked to the mayor since then, and the course is still open, and I've been out there since then, and it's been open. I would say the day we played, the course was in the best shape it's been in a long time, with the exception of the sand traps, and unfortunately that's an area that it's hard to keep up. My 12-year-old granddaughter plays on the junior high golf team, and I try to take her to play as often as I can. You can't imagine as an 83-year-old great-grandfather being able to take the granddaughter to play golf, and the relationship we built together. Now, I've got to brag on her a little bit. When she was 10 years old, she picked up my driver, and she has a natural swing, and she has natural ability in golf. I employed a young lady to give her lessons, and I believe that she will get a scholarship, and I believe one day that if she pursues this, that you'll see her playing in tournaments. Now, I know you're saying, well, that's just granddaddy bragging, and it is, but I believe that she has that kind of potential. The only thing that's bad about playing with her is when she outdrives me and when she beats me. When we finish, the first thing she does is get that card to see who won, and she usually knows who won. And I don't know how many golfers there are in here, but most golfers, when they hit a drive, it slices, it doesn't hook. Well, my great-granddaughter can draw the ball. And I'll never forget the first day she did that, I said, "Oh, you know what you did?" She said, "No, sir." "Did I do something wrong?" I said, "No." I said, "You've done something that few people can do, and that's draw the ball." And of course, again, I won't get into why it's good about drawing the ball, but it gives you much more distance and so forth. Now, if the golf course closes, obviously the teams at Jeff Davis High School will have to go somewhere out of town to practice and also, of course, to play in tournaments. And I realize as a council member, you would say to me, is it our responsibility to furnish the golf course for the high school and the team at Jeff Davis? And I would say, no, it's not your responsibility. Let me ask a question. Is there any, Mr. Mayor, is anybody on the council play golf?
I do.
You do. Anyone else? Anyone in the room?
My son and grandchildren play golf.
I
don't-
think Ken does.
Well, you know, if you don't play golf and you read in the paper that the golf course is losing money, and of course, I remember the only time that I've ever been involved with business that lost money is when I had Hazelhurst Feed and Seed with and Feed and Seed in McCray, and every month it'd be little brackets, and I found out that meant you was losing money. And of course, the little brackets kept getting larger and larger until finally I decided that Jack needed to come home from McCray. And so I understand about losing money. I guess as a council member, what you're gonna have to decide is, does Hazelhurst need a golf course? And is it your responsibility to furnish the golf course? As I said, I'm aware of the losses. In fact, I had Ms. Rainey's give me some financials, and I was, as I looked at them, I thought that as a former banker, that's not the kind of financial statement I like to see. But again, you'll have to decide, are we going to try to continue to have a golf course so that the people who do want to play can play? And I'm sure you're bothered perhaps when you read in the paper that a certain group are having a tournament and they're having it in Douglas at the country club rather than having it out here. Well, now, I don't know the intent, but Douglas has a nice 18-hole course, and of course, most people who play golf like to play on the 18-hole course because you've got two different nines. I will say that Twisted Pines has always tried to have it designed so if you play one set of tees one round and one on another round, it is like a different course. And we've got a nice layout out here. The only thing is that the problem is we don't have enough people who play. And it takes, of course, green fees, people playing, in order for the golf course to be profitable. And of course, again, if the golf course is not profitable, you tend to start cutting here and cutting there, which means you don't cut the greens and you don't cut the fairways. And when people come, then they say, I don't want to go back out there and play. So there's a lot of things you have to consider, I know that. I'm asking, I guess maybe begging the mayor and commissioner to really think of everything we can do or think about to keep the course open. Now, I had planned to be planned to meet with the county commissioners at the last meeting. Unfortunately, I didn't get on the agenda, and I was told I'd only have 5 minutes, and I can't say good morning hardly in 5 minutes, so I said, that won't work. But I am gonna be on the agenda the next, and I'm gonna approach the county commissioners and ask them to consider joining with the city in some joint ownership or however it can be worked out, so that of course the county can help share the losses. Now, hopefully at some point we can turn it around and not have losses. But as long as we have losses, I know the city would like to have some help. Now, I'm sure you're aware that the county obviously has a much bigger budget than you do. In fact, it's a little over $10 million. Now, the county has a recreation department that's probably second to none. We have a lot of things here in the county that I'm sure people bring people in from outside of the county, and they of course eat at the restaurants and they pay gas and they do various things. And so the budget for that area is over $400,000. So obviously that's why we have a good recreation department, because they spend money on it. And of course, I have no idea, I haven't seen the financial statements to see what kind of money they charge for, the teams to play and all that, but at any rate, I am planning to go to the county commissioners and see if they would consider getting involved with the city with the golf course. Now, I was told by the young lady when I went up to talk about this, she let me know to her that the county commissioners are not too responsive positively towards the golf course. So that she let me know that I could expect perhaps a warm welcome when I went. But I'm still going. I'm asking you, as members of the council, that you look at things that we could do. Now, I'm sure this has been discussed before, but and I have no idea exactly how much land is involved, but I would think there's probably at least 4 to 5 spots on the golf course that could be sold for a personal residence to be constructed. Now, some people, like to be on the golf course, literally have a house on there. And so, if in fact I'm correct, if there wasn't but 2, we could consider selling those 2, and what the money received, and we put it in a special account, of course, help offset the losses. And I think, of course, there's been discussions about we ought to extend the golf course to 18 holes. Well, obviously, when you see the amount of loss that you have now, and you talk about, going to 9 more holes, that, people look at you kind of funny, like, are you kidding me? We need to learn how to be profitable with 9 holes. But again, as I said earlier, most people like to play where there's a course that has 18 holes. I would do most anything individually that I could do to help golf course. As a retiree, I'd be happy to give up 1 day a week to work at the golf course. I can run a tractor, I can cut the greens, I can cut the fairways, and I think I could get several other retirees that would help out, so that would help some of the expenses that you have with employees. Now, I can't work on a tractor. If it quits, somebody's got to come get me out of trouble. But I want to say to you that I appreciate so much you're giving me this time. I showed up one Tuesday night, and I had the wrong night. Last week I showed up, and there was a sign on door that, of course, you didn't have a meeting because of COVID, so I called the mayor and I said, Mr. Mayor, you think maybe the Lord's trying to tell me something, maybe I don't need to come? And he said, no, I think you ought to come. And so I want to thank you again for giving me the opportunity to speak to you about the golf course. And again, I can understand if I were sitting in your seat and I had to respond to my constituents, then I may look at it a little different. I would like to ask this question. How many of you have had calls from someone in your ward saying to you, the golf course needs to be closed because it loses money?
We have,
So no one's had a call that, you know, you guys are obviously not doing a good job running the council because you're losing money and you're not doing anything about it. Which tells me, of course, that there are people who think that you should have a golf course. I will say this in closing, I will shut up. When I was on the industrial authority and we would be discussing with a company that might move to Hazelhurst, one of the things that always came up was, do you have a golf course? Now, as you know, when you try to get business to come into town, they're looking at your school system, they're looking at your police force and your sheriff department, they're looking at the hospital, and they also like to know if you have a golf course. And so, again, thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to come, and I'll say, do you have any questions of me? I don't represent any club or any company. I represent Jack Floyd, who's a concerned citizen who wants to have the golf course open. And I'll be honest with you, it's because I like to play it. I don't particularly like to drive to Alma McRae. I like to take my grandchildren out here and play. So, anybody have a question?
Anybody have a question for Mr. Floyd?
I got,
No.
just I don't know whether you call it a question or not. First off, I want to commend you and appreciate so much you coming forth. Mr. Jack, I respect your opinion greatly. First and foremost, it's, we talked about this, a little bit of news to me when you said something about closing. We have been discussing the fact of being able to lease the golf course and such not, but I haven't heard anything about closing at this time. Now, I also want to preface it the fact that I am the one that am very concerned over the financial part of it. Golf is a great sport, great entertainment. Like I said, I don't play, but my son, my grandchildren do and enjoy it greatly. At the same time, I even picked it to mayor a great deal about it, make a good goat pasture. But at the same time, it is a valuable asset for our community. You mentioned another thing that I have thought about, and I've never seen a way to really get it to work. I commend you, and maybe that you can get it to work, is to have not one, but two, I would say also 3 parties that would take a part in the running, the management, and the expenses of this golf course. The city, the county, and the school system should take a fair share of being able to have the best golf course there is in the state of Georgia. And once again, I want to thank you for coming.
Any more questions of Mr. Floyd? Anybody from outside in the audience? You're open for questions too, if you'd like to ask me.
I will make
I
a
don't have-
response.
I don't have-
Unfortunately, I shows you I didn't follow my notes. I had in here that one of my plans is to go to Mr. Roby and visit with him and say, listen, you know, I've gone to the city and I've gone to the county about finances. Obviously, I've told them that, you know, if course should close, if your golf teams are gonna have to go out of town to practice, and they're going to go out of town to play. And so, would the Board of Education discuss and perhaps be willing to put some money in the fund? I would think that, and so I forgot, thanks for bringing that out. I just left it on the notes here, so.
Well, we're lucky that we've got one of the commissioners sitting in the back listening to this, so thank you, Van, for being here. And I can tell you that I helped build that golf course back. I picked up roots out there in those fairways, and I've got a lot of my life in it, so I'm very fond of the golf course. I think it's a real asset to the community. I will share, of course, I've shared this with the council, and I'll share it with all of you. As much as I love it, as much as one of the last things I'll do is give up. But it has gotten to the point, and Mr. Commissioner, right there, with us, with the allocation of the local option sales tax, other funds that come in, and the county gets 80% of these funds, and we get 20 because of population. This little town, and we're a poor town. We really, our economic level is very poor here. And for then our corporate limits, I tried to move them back in the 70s when I was a state legislature, and they almost hung me like they wanted to do pence. But at any rate, we have not annexed. There's huge industries, the big pellet mill, $100 million down, some down, sitting right there. We don't get a dime of ad valorem tax for that. All these sawmills out there, we don't get any ad valorem tax on that, and we're confined. And we've recently tried to, just the streets to get out so we could do some other things. But at any rate, we've all talking too much. I always try to start and stop on time. But here's the thing that I want to say to you, thank you for coming. I think that in that golf course, if you go to Alma, it's as flat as this table right here from one end to the other. But our little golf course has got contour, it's got some character. Anybody that's ever come when it's in good shape, it's a 9-hole course, which makes it less expensive to operate. And it's all we can afford. We can't afford that. But I think if the county and the Board of Education and people like you will get involved and see the need for it, I think that we together, I think everybody sitting here even, when Mr. Ramey talked about the goat pasture, I think with the seeing that it's valuable to this community, I think we could do what we need to do to get the course in good shape. It is the best it's been in a long time, but it's we don't have the revenue to do it with. When we go out and spend some money, I feel guilty for doing it. So, but at any rate, thank you for coming, and we need to move on.
I promise you that this was not the last time probably because I plan to pursue this, and I'm gonna pursue it till I mean somebody tells me, hey, we got to close the golf course.
We appreciate that, Mr. Jack, and we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And if we could have adequately be run out there like it should be, I think we would all agree on it.
Well, thank y'all for your time. I didn't mean
Thank
to
you.
take so much
And if you need to go ahead now. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on now to, I believe, Madam Clerk, are you handling this for,
Yes, I was approached, which Landon is here as well. The Valentine's with Will, the Hazelhurst Main Street, is wanting to have it at the Henson Street Alley. My understanding is that they want to have a Valentine's dinner with outdoor performance with talented Will Mosley. They're including a price of $100 per couple. It includes a meal, choice of a beverage, but they're also wanting to have alcohol. And my last conversation with Rory was who is going to have the alcoholic license. And Attorney Smith, will you please take over from here?
I don't know if there's a misunderstanding about how this operates or not, but any organization can apply for an off-event permit, off-premise event permit. You don't have to have a liquor license to apply for the permit that you're sponsoring. but whoever sells alcohol has to have, they have an application for off-premise alcohol sales. And they have to already have an alcohol license. For instance, I could apply for a permit to have something if I wanted to on property that I own within the city. But then I've got to get vendors who have an alcohol, who have the right to serve alcohol on the premises to apply for the application for off-premise alcohol sales pursuant to a catered event. I see the application for the off-premises event that Hazelhurst Main Street Program Inc. has filed, which is proper. But the application for off-premise alcohol sales is also filed by them. Unless they have an alcohol serving license, on-premise license, they can't get it. They're not the person to apply for that application. Do you understand that, Landon?
Oh, yes, yes, sir.
So the permit we can issue for the off-premises event as a designated as a catered event, but whoever sells alcohol there has to have a poured license, and then they have to apply for the application for off-premise alcohol
In
sales.
other words, our friend, Robert Wigley could handle it.
Wiggins.
Excuse me.
Wiggins.
Wiggins.
I doubt Mr.
I
Wiggins.
don't think Robert
Mr. Wiggly would.
He might fool you, he's
Good luck.
pretty open-minded. Well, you remember, we got a lot of Wigglers around here too. Robert Wiggins, as you know, he's got a Ford license here, or did have, he sold this one, but he still got them in back and some other places. But you have to have someone like that to make that application. But I think that, Landon, y'all, you know what you've got to do. I think, Mr. Attorney, you can help them get it done. Is that, by the way, they want to do it on February the 12th, they don't have any time, much.
The application for the all-premises event permit is fine. It can be approved. But you don't have a proper application for off-premise alcohol sales, which you can file at any time prior to that. But without that licensed person, you can't sell alcohol. That has to be the one to sell it. You have to keep the records and everything.
Have y'all approached anybody that has that license?
Well, we're waiting to see what we could do with this information. We'll probably get him to do it like he's done for chamber events and stuff like that in the past, you know.
Yeah, he's enough of
That's probably the fastest avenue.
Yeah,
there.
I can almost bet you can call him on the phone now and he'd say
Right,
he'd do it.
I agree.
But you better, but with the 12th now, you're trying to get.
We gotta rock and roll, yeah.
You got to move, so we can get, whoever's doing it,
Okay.
you better get ahold of Robert in the morning and tell him.
How long do you need, how long does it take y'all to approve that?
We can approve it in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we don't have the authority to approve that, we got to give
You have
him.
the authority to approve the application for the designated catered event.
So we entertain a motion, do we approve the event now, council?
So moved.
But, Mr. Ramey's made a motion, that we approve the event.
I second.
There's Leggett is second, any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. John? John? I didn't hear you.
Yes, aye.
Okay, thank you, buddy. All right, okay, it's unanimous, the vote is unanimous that that has been granted to, whose name is that in?
The Hazelhurst Main Street Program.
Okay, Hazelhurst Main Street,
Lori.
okay. All right, then you folks ought to get busy and get you a licensed, alcohol pouring dealer to get a license in here, and then, doesn't he have to make application
They
to the
have to
state?
do an application, no, the application for off-premise, they do the application to the city. But they have to make the reports and all to the state of alcohol sales.
So it won't take them any time to do that with the,
They'll just have to get with me and we'll file the necessary paperwork, get the letter done, get your signature on it, and they'll send it to the state, so on and so forth.
all right, okay. All right, we're ready for that now, right?
Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll help you every way we can, but now you better get busy because we're trying to do this for the 12th. Come in, Mr. Johnson, glad to have you. All right, let's move on now. I believe, Mr. Ramey, you're next with the recycle office.
Yes, it says for me to discuss that. I don't know that I am the best person, but probably the best person has got COVID right now, and that's Steve Paul. What was right before COVID and everything hit, I think Charles Harrell and I were fixing to go out and take a look at the recycle office, which is in, I'll use a good term, poor condition. The ceiling is falling in. We are liable for that because we got a young lady that's sitting right up under where the ceiling is falling in. And also where that ceiling is falling in is all of the technology that's out there in that place. Since that time, like I said, Charles and I were fixing to go out there to look at it, and the mayor stopped me and told me that he had this worked out, that I think he's hired Matt Bloodworth to be able to go out and take care of this office area. It is crucial that we get that one little area taken care of, but Matt needs to work with Steve, who's in charge of the recycle area. He has some ideas that can vastly improve the efficiency of the recycle area, and also the safety that would be there too. So, like I said, a better report would have been with Steve to be able to do it. He is much more knowledgeable of what there is, but I'm giving you the best that I can give you there. We just need to move with expediency with that.
Any questions to Mr. Ramey relative to the deteriorating office out at recycling? Mr. I'll tell you how that happened. I happened to overhear Mr. Harold and Mr. Ramey talking about it in the office, and during the heavy rainstorm, the Dr. Butler over at the old hospital over here called and said, Mayor, said, we got water pouring in over here. We got a bad leak, and the man that Charles and I have depended on for a long time to do the work, and then so Charles, we tried to think of some folks, and so I happened to think of Matt's always been mighty nice to do some things for us, so I called him. I said, we got a problem, can you come see about it? He said, yes, sir, I'll be there. I said, water's pouring in, can you come? And he came over there, and in the rain, got on the ladder, went up on the roof, found out it was the vents that were leaking bad and pouring water in 2 different places. I think that's correct what he told me. He got off his ladder, went and got the materials, and came back and had a man to help him. He got up there and prepared them. It took, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. And the next day I called him and said, you got me a bill? He said, Mayor, you paid for the little materials I got. He said, I appreciate the city and y'all thinking about me enough that you don't owe me a dime. But at that same time, they were calling, so he didn't charge us a penny for fixing it, just a little bit of materials that he used. And at the same time, they were calling me about the roof calling me. And I said, okay, Matt, I've got another little situation. Can you go out to the treatment plant and look at that and see what you can do to help us? He did. He went out and looked at it. He talked with the staff out there. And he said, Mayor, I'm finishing up a house. It'll probably be about a week or so before I can get there. Well, Matt, it's been now 2 weeks, in fact 2 weekends. I thought he would get there, but I called him and said, Mayor, he said, right now with the COVID and the mess that I'm in, I'm a little overloaded. I've looked at your problem. I will solve it for you, whatever y'all want me to do. But he said, if you'll just give me a little time. So I think with what he's done in a way of favor to us, and he's already looked at the job and then getting with Steve, and I think Steve's got some ideas about not just locating that office there, but maybe move it a little bit. So I think all of us together, Mr. Ramey, thank you for your report. I talked to Steve as well. And I think we've got somebody that's committed to come help us. He's done some work for gratitude, and I think in him telling me, he said, Mayor, if you just give me a little time, I want to do the job for you. So I think he'll be here shortly and we can get it done. Sorry about that long explanation, but I felt like it was necessary. Any further discussion about the repair at the recycle center?
No.
Okay, let's move on. Mr. Brady, you've got something on the GSP station.
I promise you I'm not going to get strung out on the GSP station like I did a month ago. But I will also say that the mayor has finally gotten a hold of the people that we've got to find out the logistics of what can be done, when it can be done, and the how-to. At the last meeting we had the people that were in charge of construction for the state. We had the prison system people that were there that were building the thing, and we had the architect. The architect is a crucial thing. And to shorten this thing down, I thought it went very well. Also in attendance was myself and Miss Leggett and Mr. Harold was there.
And Carl Hutchinson.
Yeah, well,
GSP.
he's with the,
Georgia State Patrol.
yeah, Georgia State Patrol, who I said with the state construction.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's Carl Hudson, he mentioned his second in command. He also had his boss there too, first in command. But with all of these things, I think it was very positive that we see that we've got some problems. We definitely have some things that have got to be done before we can turn it over or the state will accept it. These things were pointed out, some of them a few weeks ahead of that by our state fire marshal, and the architect is coordinating through the state fire marshal, and more or less will be coming up with another punch list of these things that have got to be done and how they can be done with our people that are doing it, and they are all working together. They're all on the same page now. And I thought it was very, very positive as a meeting.
Yes.
And I'll hush.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Ramey relative to the GSP post? Okay, let's move on. All right. I asked y'all during the work session that, and Mr. Attorney, you helped me with this now. Ryland has sent us a
We're
letter.
gonna move that down.
That's right.
No, well, he's here now, so we can go on. Yeah, all I did was get moved down to make sure that he was here. He's here now, and he asked it to be moved. All right, I asked you at the work session that they've sent us. You got that letter in front of you. What's the amount of $160, a little under $170,000 for those trash cans? And we figured out how many they put out. It's $49 a trash can. And Mr. Attorney and I and the others that have looked at it, Ms. Bernice have all, we can't buy the trash cans any cheaper than that. And I'm asking that y'all allow me and Ms. Bernice to secure as low interest loan as we can get either with a local bank, or we may can get a little better interest rate with GMA. And I'm going to be in their building this coming week some. And so I'll look at to find the very lowest interest rate we can get. And then looking at, again, preparing for the upcoming budget to handle this indebtedness, I think over a 4-year period, we can amortize, liquidate the debt. And so I'm asking you to authorize us to borrow the money to settle this claim, and for us to get the money to do it. Entertain that motion.
I'll make a motion.
Ms. Lane made a motion that y'all allow me and Ms. Bernice to secure this loan in that amount to satisfy this debt. Is there a second?
Second.
Second and third. Thank you, Mr. Bloodworth. All right, any further discussion about it?
Yes, I just wanted to comment on it. I think that Ryland has given us a exceptional pricing that they're helping us. I guess the only thing that I see negative about it is that I hate to see us have to go and get a loan to pay off a mistake that we made earlier by allowing ourselves to have 2 contracts at the same time. Ryland's letting us out of a mess is what they're doing. And the price that they're just charging us only for the carts is exceptional. And if that's the only way we can do it, I believe that we need to do it.
Any further discussion?
No, sir, I agree completely.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Motion carried. We will proceed to take care of that, and Mr. Attorney will get in touch with you when we start submitting this. We'll have you involved in helping us to make sure that it's handled properly. Okay, Ms. Madam Clerk, why don't you go over this
Yes, sir.
purchase order invoices requisition thing again and make sure that everybody understands it.
Excuse me for coughing. I sent out a memo to the mayor, the council, the department heads that are in charge of credit cards, purchase orders, invoices, accounts payables, and this kind of thing. If you have a receipt, if you go charge anything, please bring it to Kim. She wants to be the one in charge of it. If it gets lost, it will be her. Lori will be handling water department, wastewater treatment plant, recycle,
Street.
and street. Kim will be handling the other departments.
Police, fire,
Police.
airport.
Yeah, police, fire, and the airport, as well as City Hall up here. It is imperative that you get that to us in a timely fashion. Thank the good Lord, the statements came in earlier this week on the credit cards. We were able to get them sent out today because all the invoices had been turned in a timely fashion. And what a lot of people do not realize, we have credit cards that are out. We have the Walmart cards that are out because they do have to go out and purchase. And people are responsible enough to go and do it, but they need to be responsible enough to bring the receipt back.
Yes, I do.
Okay? If there's any questions that you have about this, please come see me. My apologies that I was out last week. I had no choice. Yeah, Bernice is back. Okay? Again, if there's any questions, please come see me. If I'm not here, the mayor can help me with it. So that's what we need to do.
Any questions?
I'd like to make a statement to that. Me her, that's something that we really need to help our billing department. When they're making out these things, it's a tremendous effort to be able to siphon through and see where they go to, what department belongs here or there. As I was listening to Kim one day in the office trying to figure out some of these, one of the things I think is each of us as supervisors could do to help is to work with our vendors and to make sure that when we're charging something to the city, that it does say to the city of Hazelhurst Water Department or Police Department, so that it helps and it's on that piece of paperwork that it helps to pinpoint where it's going.
Any other comments relative to the housekeeping chores of handling things? The thing that's so important about getting these invoices in for the credit cards is that these credit card companies, a lot of our accounts, we do enough volume of business that sometimes such a volume, and they appreciate us enough if we're a day or two maybe getting a check off, which we try not to do. The office staff, those people have been there a long time, they know what they're doing and they do a good job. But now let me tell you something, these credit card companies, all they want you to do is be a day late, and you know what happens to it. So, so y'all know what that is, as well as I do, and we're all aware of it. So let's all get our stuff in and get it to Kim, and I'll assure you the checks will be written on time. So let's work on that real good. Thank you for listening. All right, let's see, Chief, I believe you're next.
DDS update?
DDS.
Oh, yeah, well, if you don't let me forget that.
There's no update, still haven't heard from the attorney for the
Thank
state.
For those that may be not familiar with it, and if not, we've got everything, we've been approved. The Department of Driver Services and the CDL driver's license for all our truck drivers around here has been approved to come to Hazelhurst. We thought we would be already had a picture in Mr. Person's paper breaking ground and moving on it. We've got the first location, of course, we had with the Industrial Authority. I went out there during the middle of a flood and I found out, pardon? Oh, I thought somebody, I found out right quick that it was going to cost a sizable sum of money to fill and get that where it should be, so I got busy looking, and we found out with Hazelhurst Mills already selling a portion of their property over there, that a site was available at Hazelhurst Mills. We got the DDS people down here, and boy, they were thrilled. I said, oh my goodness, you've already got the base for a parking lot, and the site was beautiful. We got with the bank and was ready to get our construction loan, and they were ready for us to start building, and lo and behold, tell them what happened.
Well, there's a issue with the title. It wouldn't be if it was just a private party or the city was going to keep the property, but we're dealing with the State Properties Commission. That's a different animal altogether. And I'm not prepared to advise the city to buy the property until we know the state will accept the property with the title status that it is. And again, if the city was going to own it and keep it, I see no problem with the title, but the State Properties Commission may have a different idea about it. We don't want to buy it, and then the State Properties Commission say, no, we're not gonna take it.
Well, we've run into that, I'm
They're
sorry.
looking into it, and it's been assigned to a special assistant attorney general to research the title and then get with me, and of course, you know how that goes when you're dealing with a bureaucracy.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that's one reason we're as cautious as we are now. The very thing that we're dealing with out there, and I can tell you this briefly, everything that Mr. Ramey said about that was fine, and I appreciate your positive attitude about it. But we have done everything that you can imagine out there to make everything special and better than any facility we've seen at that state patrol post. One place between the residential area and the office area is a 2-hour fire rating wall. And somehow, some way, of course, we use prison labor. A lot of folks said that was part of the problem, but maybe that's not the problem. But at any rate, the firewall between the residential area and the office area is the main obstacle for us to handle. And then there's several other smaller items that need to be handled. But at any rate, with seeing now, when you hand this thing over to the state, all the bureaucracy that's got to be satisfied, we're doing an extra special point to make sure that when we get this thing built, that we don't run into some of the problems we're running into now. Let's move on. Okay, now then, we're ready for you, Chief. Thank you for getting me on straight there.
I'm asking for council approval for myself and Captain Mark to attend the Chiefs Winter Training Conference so we can get our executive training hours. It's February 7th through 9th, 7th, 8th, and 9th in Athens, Georgia.
I entertain a motion that we approve the winter conference for the police and
Yes,
Chief.
sir, I'll make a
Ms.
motion.
Leggett makes the motion that we approve it.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ramey. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Bloodworth, are you voting? Mr. Bloodworth?
Aye, vote aye.
Thank you. All right. Now then, you've got the police report that's already been put before you. I'm asking you to read, and that's just for your information. I'm asking that you approve item 9, 10, and 11, which is routine housekeeping chores. I entertain a motion that we approve.
So moved.
Mr. Raines made a motion that we approve number 9, 10, and 11. Ms. Leggett has seconded. Any further discussion about it? Hearing none, a call for vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I heard you this time, Mr. Bloodworth. All right, the motion carried. All right, we're now for citizen comments. Mr. Commissioner, we're certainly glad that you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, no other citizen comments? Okay, council, y'all got anything extra you want to say at this time?
My apologies to the mayor and to the council and the city. I'm sorry. I was informed about our meeting several times and I actually thought about it, but y'all, I actually forgot it again. We got some things coming up anyway. I'm just being honest, but I want the citizens to know and y'all to know.
Right.
I actually forgot it. We had, I don't call it death, we call them going to sleep. We have a member of our church that passed and her funeral was today. And if you know how we have church and service, it was in Brunswick. And that funeral was down there, but if we'd have went ahead and turned on out and come on back, I probably would have been here on time. But y'all ain't even think about it until you called where I was at. I said, I'm Brunswick, you know. So then we tried to get here, and the faster they come, the harder the rain comes, and the more my heart speeded up. My nerves just can't hardly take it. So I'm sorry that I'm late.
You made it, you're
The
forgiven.
next thing I want to tell the city and the council, I brought it to the mayor's attention that since the cemetery falls under my supervision or whatever, we want to start making some plans, if y'all will, even if we have to put it in the budget. Out at Memorial Cemetery, the lower end down there is just too much of a muddy mess that those graves had extended to the end, and I remember when, when a friend of mine was buried there, and she was there, and how that mud, we wanted to look at paving that on around there for our citizens. We got to try to do something, so I just want you to be thinking about it when you're looking at trying to do something in that area.
Well, since
Hazelhurst Memorial.
you've mentioned that, I spent some time out there looking at it, and let me tell you what's happened. It needs attention bad, but over the years,
Bless your heart.
over the years, digging, flowers, everything left over, they take it out of that low end and dump it, and they've actually down there where the thing is, it would be not nearly as wet if they've actually got a crown down there and build a dam down there. First thing we need to do, even if we do get it paved on around and out that other gate, we need to get that, all that picked up, and it's just mounted up. But it's an item that we can look at. What now? What?
My term was up, so they'll need to nominate me to continue.
Ms. Vernice, council, Ms. Vernice's term is up on the Board of Tourism, and she's wanting to know if y'all want to renominate her or fire her.
Yes. Yes, sir. I nominate her.
Okay, Ms. Leggett has made a motion that we renominate Ms. Thompson to the Board of Tourism. Is there a second to the motion? Second by Mr. Ramey. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Okay, Ms. Vernice, you're back in the saddle there. We
I will
appreciate,
let them know.
we appreciate what you do.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I would like to say to the council and to the city people that are here tonight, and we appreciate Mr. Van, and honestly, this has been a pleasure tonight with everybody working in one mind and one accord. And I really, I truly appreciate it. I won't go home and have heartache all night. I mean, we have had a nice meeting, and I want y'all to know how much I appreciate it.
Thank you, I concur. Okay, anything else? Mr. Bloodworth,
Yes, sir.
can you hear Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Johnson, I entertain a motion.
I just got him, but can we go home? I will motion.
He seconded.
Motion by Mr. Johnson, seconded by Mr. Bloodworth, as is customary, and we go home. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're dismissed. Thank you, John.
Thank you all.
Thank you, John.
Yes, ma'am.